Today is day 852 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. A week of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi has been sponsored for a schus for Shidduch. May it be for the sponsor, Idova Nor Umi Skabel, with great Hatzlacha. Uh, Today's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is Siman Tav Kuf Mem Zayin Ches to Tav Kuf Mem Ches. Ches. Oh, actually, we did Tav Kuf Zayin Ches as part of our last shir to finish off the siman. So up to Tav Kuf Mem Ches Aleph, and we will do Mir Shem Aleph to Ches. Tav Kuf Mem Ches. Tine Avelos B'Chol Hamoed. The laws of mourning on Chol Hamoed. Ava Korban Mesa Borego, somebody buries his dead on Yontif or B'Chol Hamoed. Lo Chol Avelos Borego. The Avelos does not take effect during Yontif itself. Lo Ase Avelos Rabban Dachi Rega D'Oraisa. Avelos Rabban does not come and push off the Yontif, just the Raisa. Even if we say that Avelos the first day is the Raisa, Lo Ase Asid Yochid Dachi Rega D'Rabbi. And a mitzvah, say, of an individual does not come and push off a regel, which is the mitzvah of the masses. After Yom the maskil limnos shibas avelos. You begin the service 7 days in the morning after that regel, and then you conduct yourselves avelos. But shloshim the count starts in the day of the burial. The noeg bohem kachog shloshim, and you conduct yourself during the shloshim as is appropriate for all of shloshim. Shmiyat says nechshav kishiva yamin shloshim kishis bara. There's an advantage of having Shmini Atzeres, because Shmini Atzeres counts as 7 days. Yishlom says some people argue on that. The minik is like the first svara, that is like 7 days. So brings down that the candle that people are accustomed to light all 7 days, you can light immediately on Chol Hamoed, but you should not light in a place where you are eating, because of Abel's Befaresia. And on Yontif itself, you should not light it yourself, but only by a non-Jew. Shas Chag says maybe you can light it on your own, I guess, because by analysis it is a candle from which you can derive benefit. Mishabura writes that big difference between him and the Arukh HaShulchan. He says if the mace was niftar on the Yontif, the Shmini Atzeres is only considered to be 1 day. That's a major difference. It doesn't matter whether the mace was died before Yontif or on Yontif, it's still like 7 days. Okay, we shall see, I guess, when we get further into the simon. Base. We make 2 days Yontif. Yeshivas Me'avelos. Yontif Sheni is considered to be part of the 7 days of Avelos. Mashim Olav Od Shishi Yomim. And you add onto it another 6 days. Even though there's no actual tangible Avelos, then since it's Yontif to Rabbanan, Oila accounts for the other Rabbanan of Shiva. But I feel Yontif Sheni Rosh Hashanah Ola Minamir, even the second day of Rosh Hashanah counts for Shiva. But Yeshu Shomah say the Dafka Kshemes Yontif Sheni Rosh Hashanah. That's only if he dies on Yontif Sheni Rosh Hashanah. Or at least he was buried on Yontif Sheni. If he's buried on the first day, Ein Ola, the second day does not count. That's a tas. Ein Okain. It's not the case. The Tamid Ola Minamina. That's among Abraham. That is the custom that the second day of Rosh Hashanah always counts as the first day of Shiva. Gimel. Hakover es Mesa B'Yontif Rishon Achron Shachad. Somebody who buries his dead on the last Pesach, last day of Pesach, or beyond the Shavuos, second day of Shavuos, or beyond the Torah, or until the Torah, Noi Ba'Avelus, he conducts himself with Avelus. Imayabo Yom HaMisa Gvur, of that is the day of the death and the burial. Beyond the Shem Rabbanan, since the Yom Tov Shein is Rabbanan, Ba'Avelus Yom Rishon Min HaTorah, and Avelus of the first day is Toraisa. First day of Avelus is Toraisa. So Dachi Asay. I said before, the Shiva is the Rabbanan, but first day of Avelus is the Raisa. Dachi Asay the Raisa, Asay the Rabbanan. The mitzvah say the Raisa pushed off the Asay Rabbanan. Avalo beyond the Sheni Rosh Hashanah, but not on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. Some Arch time, they're like one long day. Abisha Sob Rabbanan, even the final analysis, the second day of Rosh Hashanah is the Rabbanan. Came with Shalom Ibn Asafek, so since it's not wasn't instituted on account of a suffix, the Yoma, because the Dara day. Kol Yom Rishon has the same significance as the first day. I have a common rabbi saying nechluku gam rabbi. Some rabbis argue this completely. But really, they hold the entire ain't avails a field beyond rishon. There is no avails even on the first day. In other words, avails the first day is only rabbanon. Rakanino sabi deraisa, only being onen until the burial is deraisa. Below avails and not avails itself. Can't divide the rabbanon since they're both rabbanon. Lo asi the rabbanon the yachid. The mitzvah say the rabbanon of an individual. Avails does not come with say the rabbi and push up. Does say of the masses of yontif. Can it make pashul bein l'shanos, and that is the widespread minhag, and you should not deviate from it. Ve'ain shum avelos no ibon. There's no avelos on any day of yontif, first or second. That what you said, that somebody buries his dead on Yontif, Avelos does not devolve upon him. Zeo Avelos Paresia, that's only public Avelos. But private Avelos, no, it does take effect. Also, Batasha should be done now to have marital relations. Nevertheless, you're allowed to sleep with your wife in the same room. You don't have to need any safekeeping. Because even if she's in Nida, you're allowed to sleep in the same room. Jews are not suspect to violate these halachos. Also, you don't change your way you dress. Even though other avelim change their garments during Yontiv, I don't think that's custom nowadays anymore, but I guess was once at a time. He hasn't officially started his veils, should not change his garments. That's not considered to be public. I'm not sure what it means. Yes, it's not considered to be that he's not misabel for Hesia. I don't know what he means by that. Is now allowed to learn things which you're not allowed to learn when you're Avel. Mishmur says some people allow learning. Nevertheless, in terms of gaining Aliyah and to count him to the number of Aliyos, which are required, it's not worthwhile to count him. Levad feeling meaning to feel beyond reaching, except for feelings as ocean which you put on the even first day. Of course, this is played about according to those who put on Cholam Moed. Came here annoyed by Velos since you're not don't conduct yourself without Velos. Ain't a mola b'farkano. You're not rolling. You're in the dirt. Which is which is the figurative reason why Ovel is exempt from tefillin the first day. She writes that you have to be careful not to make a bracha on the tefillin. Anyway, the makers not to make a bracha on tefillin Cholam Moed. Hey, Vabi Sheh Avelos Noeg with Moed, even though Avelos is not applied during Cholam Moed, Kam Aninus Noeg Bo. Nevertheless, there is Aninus. Basa B'yayin. Till the Kavura, you're not allowed to eat meat or drink wine. But the mitzvah is exempt for all the mitzvahs sake. But Shklam Yor Dersi Mishim Mal. Aninus Vade Doraisa. Aninus is certainly in our Torah. And covered Yontav Docha, so the covenant mace Kodek. The honor Yontav does not push off Aninus because the cover of the mace takes precedence. In mace, lo mace, Cholam Moed, if somebody dies on Cholam Moed. Also, now do all the things which the owner is not allowed to do. Mace, lo mace, Yontav, if somebody dies. And Yontav, he may not the cover of Bobayah. If you can't bury him that day, you don't want to bury him that day, it says here. Since she's don't have non-Jews, she will want to be involved with him on the first day Yontiv. And Shadchan says even if you don't want to use non-Jews, they're available, you don't want to use them. He doesn't have the law of Aninus. Aninus is only when you want, in other words, you're intent on burying the person then. And Mishnah says name and from that nevertheless, you also in Talmud Torah. Even though other Baal some Aninus don't apply, but the Dogel Mirvava allows you in Talmud Torah as long as Aninus is not applicable. If you have to go to the edge of your 2,000 amos to prepare stuff for burying him after Yontif, Aninus takes effect from the moment that you got to the 2,000 amos. If you don't have to get to the end of the tchum by nightfall, you don't yet have to give out in the matters of the Kvura. And this does take effect till the following morning. Messi Yontif Sheni, he dies on Yontif Sheni, who wrote to cover above Yom once. That's all on Yontif Rishon. It was buried where you want to bury him on the second day Yontif, which is permissible. The Macy Yontif Shave, but Mace dies in the Shave, runs the cover up Yom. He wants to bury him that day. Or Macy Yontif Rishon, we bury him during the first day Yontif, but still cover a day any Yudi. Or you want to bury him to a non-Jew on Yontif Rishon. Chalav and Niyus Arachak, when the Niyus takes effect until after the burial. Mishabura says that as long as he has the capacity to bury him, it's like a weekday. It's supposed to where you can't bury him, such as where there's some compelling reason. Okay. The evening of the second day Yontif is not needed. The Rak Yom the Yontif Sheni Kachol Shabi Rabbanan. Only the day of Yontif Sheni Rabbanan made it like a weekday. For Loga Laila, not the night. Cheni Mesi Yontif Rishon therefore dies on the first day Yontif. A couple of Machani burying the next day. Ein Aniyus Chalalav. The Aniyus does not take effect. Ad Lamachar Babakar until the next in the morning. At night you're required to daven and to say kiddush, etc. Being mesilel yontif sheni. If a person dies on the eve of yontif sheni, because mesilel yontif rishon. So if he dies on the eve of first day yontif, then he is no balayla. When he does not take effect at night, I feel him cover the macha de any yudi. Even if you're going to bury him next day by a non-Jew, and then cover balayla, that's all true if you bury him next day. But you bury him at night, and certainly you are an onin until after the kavura. Because he says, there's no news in the eve of Yontif. He goes, advertise your day, Vajish Sham, look, a Shachsham, see, Des, Ein Sham, Zo, Rosa, Mario. Baskin, Ein Sham. But if Abi Shen avails, rather than there's no avails on Yontif, we come is asking for Berega. Nevertheless, we get involved with an avail on Yontif. Lenachamo to comfort him. Shemesh Lemesrega, but somebody died on him during Yontif. And after the Yontif is over, when 7 days over from the time the person died, even though he's still sitting as an Avelus, because he has to start Shiva after Yontif, nevertheless, his work can be performed for him by others in their houses. He writes, it's even with something where there's not going to be loss if it's delayed. Because if it's something where there's going to be a loss, it's mutter by other people do even in the house of the other. If you can't do it through other people and it's something where it's going to cause a loss, it's possible that you can rely on the Mekilim, even do it by himself after the 7 days from the Misa have elapsed. So the Mishnah is pretty make on this. So his servants can do stuff for him in private in his house. And you don't have to do the Chum again after the regel. Meaning based on the days when you're ready Menachem during Yontif. Closer to the John principle is Shiva Achareo. He does the Shiva after Yontif. We come calling it Tanchumin in terms of Nichum Avelim. The prohibition of others to work for him. Moni Mashiva Yomi does also for us. So you count them from the day of the death and the day of the Kavura. She says that that's true also about a partner of the Avel. That he can be lenient and open the store right after Yontif if the person died on the first day of Chol If he died Erev the second days, you have to wait 3 days until open the store. Zion. Meis lo meis konem regel. Somebody died before Yontif. Nikvar konem regel is before Yontif. And he sat Shiva for an hour on Erev Yontif. An hour is not Dafka. But let me menu is he's about to say that. Lav Dafka. Sorry, I skipped. But let me Shiva. The decree of Shiva is null. He already fulfilled it. Mishmur writes in the name that even he did only one of the things that has to do with Shiva, that's enough. And even if he deliberately didn't do the other stuff, he only did one thing, and the other things he did not observe, also that's enough to count Shiva. The Mishmur says Sarachiyah. Mishmur also writes that in terms of Kaddish, the Shiva is still in effect, even though he was already kept an hour before Yontif. And of course, it's not just specifically an hour. It's more any small amount of time. And the days of Yontif count in terms of Shloshim. So so together with that minimal amount before Yontif and the Yontif, you have 14 of your 30 days. Mishnah writes that on that account, you have to conduct yourself during the Yontif like all the like the normal conduct of shloshim, which means not to wear new, freshly ironed clothing, white and new and white clothing. Uh, so this already got 14 days out of the 7 plus days. So after the yontif, you got to make them another 16 days. The Dav Krishna Gabeos says the short. It's only the Gabeos during that hour. But if you inadvertently or literally did not do Avelos, if you didn't do any Avelos, or it's right before darkness, so you didn't have time to do any Avelos. Have a kames regels like somebody died on Yontif and Noi Avelos Achar Regel. You have to do the Avelos after Yontif. Then a regel vatin and Shiva. In that case, the regel does not cancel his Shiva. The Mishnah Berurah says that if it's on account of Kiddush, leniency, he says if it's on account of an onus, they couldn't sit Shiva during that small amount of time, then it is Mevatel, the din of Shiva, and does count as 7 of the Shloshim. Which is a very big leniency with the Arukh does not seem to hold that way. Ches, Vim Nog Avelus Shiva Yohamin Koden Regel. You did Avelus for 7 days for Yontif. Bogabo Regel, and then could get Yontif. Mevatel Regel, and then Kigzer Shloshim. Then the Regel cancels the whole halach of Shloshim. Pilchal Yom Shiva Erev Regel, even the 7th day, that is on Erev Yontif. When you mix us Yom Kulu, we say that part of the day is like a full day. Regel Vatam and Shloshim, because the second part of the day was part of Shloshim, not Shiva. We have to cancel Shloshim. With the Sabil Chabes Erev Regel, he's allowed to take a haircut and to do laundry. Erev Yontif. Ken Chatzcham also wash himself in hot water. Lidi done. According to us, they in Roch Timacham Shloshim, who don't. According to us, time Arukh HaShulchan, that you don't use any hot water all 3 days. This all be around 2 hours before Yontif and not prior to that. Shubra says that you're allowed to iron during that time as well. She writes the B'shas al-Chakim we make right after Chatzos. But that's only Erev Yontif. Erev Pesach, you're allowed, Erev Yontif Shavuos. And so, and the other Yontif besides Pesach. But Erev Pesach, since already after Chatzos is considered to be like Yontif, you're allowed to immediately start after Chatzos with all the halachas, all the leniencies like what you would otherwise be 2 hours before. And to take a haircut, you're allowed to do even before Chatzos because you're not supposed to take a haircut after Chatzos on Erev Pesach. But Kamakon B'Shachal Shmini Shlo B'Shabbos Erev Regel. Something when the 8th day comes out on a Shabbos, which is Erev Yontif. Mutlo Kolev Erev Shabbos. You're allowed to do all these things Erev Shabbos. B'Shvilo Shlo on the 7th day. Kishol Shtaim Shkoslam B'Chashel, like 2 hours before darkness. The right said you don't have to wait until after Mincha. Okay. If you look at the Erev Regel, if you didn't get a haircut Erev Yontif, Mutar Achar take a haircut after Yontif. Because Shloshim is cancelled. Even though some Avelim are allowed to, no, here could have, since hypothetically it could have gone before Yontif, you can't do a Chol Moed. Chal Yom Shvi Shelo B'Shabbos Erev Regel. If, on the other hand, your 7th day happened on Shabbos at Erev Yontif, Mutar Stop there, then you can't take a haircut on Chol Moed. Sharei lo haya efshar l'istapek on a regel because you couldn't take hair before Yontif. Shnai no yom b'toch shir because it's still within the 7 days. Partial, it's clear the hard the regel mavatal mimenu gzer shloshim. You disperse that which the Yontif cancels shloshim in terms of a haircut. Zer b'shar mesim. That's why other people who died above even the shir ha'chigur b'chaverov. By far the mother where the shir is actually until your friends rebuke you. And regel vatal zer afil no shlosh regel. The Yontif does not cancel that shir, which could be longer than 30, even if you already kept shloshim before the Yontif.